Hello.
Welcome to another week of Case Files
With Kat
and Ashley.
Oh gosh, it feels like we haven't said that in a really long time.
Okay, here's the thing, guys. We record, but it doesn't record. So then we got to re-record. So anyway,
Guys,
we're so professional over here.
Guys, we fucking recorded an episode.
She did such a good episode.
I did. It was like the best I've ever done, honestly.
It was such a good episode.
But there was something wrong with the card. And the wizard called me and was like, dude, the card is jacked. Like some just huge chunks of my story just would die out, you know, and it was like we couldn't make that up.
Yeah.
So Sarah is gonna join us next week so that we can re-record so that Ashley doesn't have to fake her shock and awe at my greatness.
Oh,
just kidding. No, it's hard. It's hard to re-listen to a story, right? You know, ask the same questions and be as inquisitive about it. And so it would just be me reading my script without that same back and forth. So I think having Sarah here, we're all excited. I know.
I feel like we haven't had her on in such a long time.
It has been a long time, ever since she insulted us. But the thing,
to be fair, she only insulted one of us, I feel like.
that was when she was pregnant. Remember? Like that was like.
Are you sure?
Because she wasn't drinking that night.
I don't believe you.
I'm pretty.
So what we're saying is it was the pregnancy hormones. You're trying to excuse it for her.
No, what I'm saying is she was sober.
Sarah, have you paid off my co-host? Wow. Just to get back on the show.
Oh, I can't wait to have you, Sarah. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, what you got?
Okay. Well, I feel like I always say I'm going to do something, and then I show up here, and it's like a story so opposite of what I said I was going to do. So last time, I believe, well, actually, I didn't record, so no one knows this, but I said I was going to do a serial killer, but I'm doing a disappearance. I know, shocking.
I think she did say that, guys.
I'm pretty sure I said I was going to do a serial killer.
I can't check the tapes.
To be fair, I am, in fact, doing a serial killer the next time it's my turn to tell a story.
Okay.
I've already got it.
Okay.
So it's happening.
Okay.
Unless something else happens between now and then, but it's happening.
You'll probably find...
Anyways, I'm doing a disappearance this evening.
You'll find another rabbit hole to go down.
Maybe. Maybe. But it was actually, I won't talk too much about it.
There are some stories that are just so need to be told. And, you know, I love finding those. And especially if it's something that's unsolved that you can bring, especially, you know, your disappearance stories. If you can bring light to something, someone might know something somewhere.
And the one I'm talking about tonight actually had some updates in 2025.
Oh.
So like it's still even though this happened in the 90s, there's still things happening.
Yeah.
So, excuse me.
Oh, yeah. Only when she's here, guys.
I know. I seriously, it never happens anywhere else. I think it's the nervousness.
Burpiston.
The nerves. I don't know what to tell you. It doesn't happen anywhere else.
Why are you nervous? It's just
me.
It's just me. Nobody's listening.
Millions of listeners. Oh, Jesus.
No one's listening. Just tell me your secrets.
Oh, I don't have enough time for that.
Well, we almost had the wizard join us tonight with his loud drink.
Yeah.
But
sounding like iced coffee. You know when you have that person in the office, and if you don't, then it's you.
Here he comes. It's like a cowbell. It's just ice clinking on the glass. I can hear it. It's so loud.
Okay. Anyways, I am doing the disappearance of Jodi Sue Huisentruit. And if you're unfamiliar who she is, she was an American TV news anchor. She worked for KIMT in Mason City, Iowa. When this happened, it was a pretty big case because she was, you know, really well known in her community. She was the news anchor. She was like the morning show.
Oh, okay. Did she have a co-host or was she alone?
I don't know about that, but she was like, I mean, you know, when you're watching your morning news, she was it.
Yeah.
So on the morning of June 27th, 1995, a colleague called her at home because she hadn't arrived for work yet. And Jodi answered the call and she said, "I'm so sorry, I overslept. I'm on my way." But this was the last time anyone would hear from her. Jodi was 27 at the time. And she was living by herself. She was in an apartment. And anyways, that was the last time that anyone that they know of has talked to her. She answered the phone. She just said, "I'm running late." She didn't sound distressed or anything. You know, she literally said, I overslept. I'm on my way.
What city was she from?
When she disappeared, she was in Mason City, Iowa.
Mason City, Iowa. Okay.
Jodi was born June 5th, 1968 in Long Prairie, Minnesota. She was the youngest daughter to Maurice Huisentruit and I'm gonna butcher.
Huisentruit?
That is how you say that name. I'm probably gonna butcher the father's name though. Imogen.
Yeah.
Huisentruit.
Imogen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Imogen.
Okay, well, there we go. She excelled at golf in high school, and she even won this Class A tournament along with her team in 1985 and 1986. After high school, she enrolled at St. Cloud State University, where she studied mass communications and speech communication. She graduated with a bachelor's degree in 1990, and she began her first job after graduation as a flight attendant with Northwest Airlines, not to be confused with Southwest Airlines. Northwest Airlines was a thing until it merged with Delta Airlines in 2010.
Okay.
I had never heard of it. I was like, surely that's a typo. But no, it existed and became part of Delta in 2010. So she was a flight attendant there. And she began her broadcasting career with CBS, with an affiliate of CBS called KGAN in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And she then returned to Minnesota for a job with an ABC affiliate. And then she later returned to Iowa. And this is when she came back this time, that's when she started the job at KIMT in Mason City. And that's where she was working at the time of her disappearance. That's where she was doing the morning show, like the morning anchor. And typically she would be at work at like 3:30 a.m., 4 a.m., something like that time. Like it was real early in the morning.
When some people are going to sleep,
yes.
She started.
Yeah. And so on June 26th, the day before she disappeared, Jodi had participated in a golf tournament. And according to Mason City residents John Venice, she then went to his house to view a homemade videotape of a birthday celebration that he had arranged for her earlier that month. So she went to this golf tournament, kind of like she was like the celebrity, you know, like what we have. And then she went to this guy's house that had this videotape of her birthday celebration that had happened earlier in the month. At 4:10,
someone she knew, or was it like? Oh, okay,
I'm sure. Yeah, but he lived in Mason City. And at 4:10 a.m. on June 27th, this is the day that she disappeared, KIMT producer Amy Coons noticed that Jodi had failed to report to work as scheduled and called her apartment. When Jodi answered, as I mentioned earlier, she had to explain that she overslept. She was preparing to leave for the station. However, by 6 a.m., Jodi had still not arrived. So Amy filled in for her that morning. And at 7:13 a.m., the staff called Mason City Police because they say it's just not like her to not show. She's the morning anchor. She's always here on time. She answered her phone and said she was on her way. And it's been, a couple of hours and she's still not here and we can't get a hold of her. When
I've always, I've always been super impressed. Excuse me. I've always been super impressed with they're always there. You always see an anchor. Like they're not real. I never noticed them on vacation for too long.
Yeah.
Or like you see them all the time, even on a holiday.
They're consistency.
They're so consistent, and so I can see because there have been other stories that we've done where like if a teacher doesn't call in, that's also something where they're gonna check in. Like
Yeah.
that's a welfare check.
I mean, it's still impressive to me that regardless of the profession, that a job cares enough to call, because they could just get mad and be like, they didn't show up for work.
They didn't show
I
up.
don't know what the hell. Well, you know, whatever. Like,
Right.
they could just get upset.
I mean, my job loves me, but I don't know that they would call the police if by the end of the day or by midday I didn't show up.
Well, considering I'm the only employee at my job, if I go missing, maybe when my dogs get hungry or something, you know, I don't know. But
if you don't make a committee meeting.
yeah, right.
Wait, where's Ashley?
Yeah. So when the police arrived at her apartment, they found a red Mazda Miata in the parking lot that she was planning on buying. So she hadn't actually bought it yet, but she was kind of like test driving it, like, you know, she was test driving it out for a few days, as well as evidence that suggested a struggle had taken place near the car. Her personal items, including a bent car key, her earrings, blow dryer, hairspray, and red high heels were strewn, like they were just all over the area. They also found an unidentified partial palm print on her hand, on the car. And her apartment complex, of course, had no security cameras. There were no, at this time, back then, you know, we didn't have like Ring cameras and
This
all
is
that
90s,
stuff.
95?
Yeah, 95. And so without security cameras in a parking lot, you didn't really have anything. So there was no footage of anything happening. They did interview at least 3 neighbors at her complex who all said they heard screaming around that time that she would be leaving for work. But did anyone call or check or report it? No, absolutely not. Yeah. In addition to that, a nearby neighbor reported seeing a white Ford. I'm sorry, I lost my place. In addition, a nearby neighbor reported seeing a white Ford Econoline van idling in the parking lot about the same time. That the van was just sitting there and they hadn't seen it before, but they didn't think it was just a van. They weren't doing anything, so they didn't.
But those Ecolines, man, they look sus. Did it have
But
windows? Did it have windows?
They did no video, no footage, so they did a recreation of what they think it could have looked like, and in the recreation it had windows, but who knows. So in September 1995, Jodi's family hired private investigators from McCary and Associates Investigative Services in Minneapolis, who in turn enlisted the assistance of Omaha private investigator Doug Hassa. Now, McCarthy and Doug appeared on several national TV shows, including America's Most Wanted. They were on Unsolved Mysteries. Like, these guys were, like, pretty high up there at the time for private investigators. And they talked about Jodi's case quite a bit. And in November 1995, they, like the 2 private investigators and members of Jodi's family, traveled to LA to meet with 3 prominent psychics. Now, this meeting was televised and served as the plot for the Psychic Detectives TV show. Yeah, so that's where that came from. And although each show generated several leads, none of them resulted in concrete evidence nor an identification of a suspect.
Wow.
In May 1996, approximately 100 volunteers, which I don't understand why they waited, like, because this is like a year later now. But in May 1996, approximately 100 volunteers searched an area of Cerro Gordo County and left flags to mark anything that appeared suspicious.
A year later.
To me, even a couple of months later, the chances of that kind of evidence with the weather and stuff, I just feel like, you know, maybe I'm wrong, but I just feel like most of the evidence would be compromised.
But this happened in what month?
When she originally went missing? June.
And so they went through a whole winter and a whole summer. Yeah. A lot of rain, a lot of snow, a lot of damage.
So each of the sites where they had flags were then re-examined by law enforcement, but no promising evidence was ever located. Police and private investigators have to date have conducted more than 1,000 interviews, but not a single one of those has resulted in any kind of conclusive evidence pointing to a suspect. Jodi was declared legally dead in May of 2001.
Okay, was she dating anybody?
No, they didn't mention her dating anyone. So, great segue. Prior to her disappearance...
That's what I'm here for, Ashley. It's what I'm here for.
Now, prior to her disappearance, she had been acting very strangely, like very paranoid. She had given indications that she was very concerned about her well-being and her safety. In October of 1994, about 9 months before she disappeared, she filed a police report saying a suspicious subject was following her driving a small white newer pickup. She enrolled in self-defense classes.
Wow.
And at the charity golf tournament she played in the day before she went missing, she told two of her team members remembered her saying that she was thinking of changing her phone number after receiving harassing phone calls. So somebody was freaking her out. She didn't know who it was, I guess, because when she talked to the police, she just said suspicious suspect. So she didn't know the person, but she was freaked out enough to take self-defense classes, to report it to the police, to tell people. Like, she did the right things.
Listen.
She told people.
This is why I'm going to die on this hill, that stalking needs to be taken more seriously. Those police reports, all of that, everything needs to be, she did everything that she could and it still happened. But everybody needs to hear, like, stalking is such an indicator of homicide.
Yeah.
When it comes to intimate partner violence, 75% or more of victims who die were stalked by their partner during that year. It is such a good indicator, and I wish people took it more seriously. I wish it was punished more severely. Even cyberstalking, like all of that.
Yeah.
Stalking is very, very dangerous.
I think so many people unfortunately don't take it seriously because it's so glamorized in movies and TV shows. Oh, look, I've got a stalker. You know what I mean? Especially like...
Oh, stop being a stalker.
You know, I mean, it's just like... So often you hear people say they wish they had a stalker.
What?
You've never heard that? Like in
no.
TV shows and stuff? Oh my gosh, come on. I've seen it. And I think it's just because it's
not in
glamorized until it happens to you.
If it's not in Dateline or in K-dramas, it's no.
Okay. Well, I've seen it before. You know, people make jokes about wanting mental stuff. It's weird. I don't get it, but you know, it happens until it actually happens to you. And then you're like, holy shit, this is way more serious than I thought it was.
I had a conversation with my daughter about it. I was like, look, this is, take it very seriously because they're in a whole new world right now.
Yeah.
A world that I can't even begin to understand how many different apps and things. And I was like, it is very serious. And, you know, and I was like, gosh, I remember there was a kid in high school. When I was in high school, he didn't go to my school, but he was friends with some other kids I was friends with. And at one point I lived on the second story, like in a townhouse, and the carport was underneath me. So there was nothing to climb on to get to my balcony. This is the place where I lived when the wizard and I first started dating. But he had gotten up to that balcony and left something there for me to find.
Yeah.
And I stopped being friends with him at that point.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I don't know how you got up here, but that wasn't okay.
Yeah.
And like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, I've caught people looking through windows. I usually don't keep my windows open like that, but it's like, look like that. That bothers me so much.
Yeah. I hate windows.
I can't stand that. Right.
Yeah.
Because I've seen people looking at me through windows, and it is such a scary, invasive thing when somebody's watching or following, or it is dangerous. It's dangerous.
I had a friend who was involved with this guy, and they broke up, and he, while she was at work, hacked into their like they had security cameras that faced the door, She had them because of her ex-husband. So she had cameras, and he was able to get into their AT&T account and change the passwords, and he was watching her on his phone. And one night I was over there, and he called her and asked her why she was all dressed up the way she was, like who was she trying, even though they'd already broken up, and would just know where she was all the time and just blow her phone up and stuff. And it is terrifying when you're in a situation like that, because there's so little that you feel so helpless, because where are you going to go to get away? And oftentimes it's not taken seriously.
It's not. It's really not. It's like, well, until somebody gets hurt.
Yeah.
It's so sad. Anyway, that was
all of that is to say that Jodi was very serious about this. She was very conscious about it. She was trying to protect herself. She was taking these classes. She was trying to change her number. She made the police report. She was alerting people. But because she didn't actually know who it was that was doing this, they didn't have a name. So there have been some updates in the 2000s, though, even, like I said, some as recent as this year. In 2003, there was a website titled findjodi.com, which was created by Minnesota TV journalists Josh Benson and Gary Peterson, with the goal to keep the case in the spotlight and for the website to serve kind of as a clearinghouse for tips that might find Jodi. That website is still there. You can still go to findjodi.com. You can still submit tips. They have all kinds of information on this website. When new cases arise that appear to be similar to Jodi's disappearance, or whenever remains are discovered in the area, or speculation quickly leads to a connection with the missing reporter. And so they kind of act as that buffer to actually determine if there's something there. Anyways, so there are no suspects that have been identified. Like, there is not a clear motive of why someone would attack her, other than they just most likely were obsessed with her.
An obsession. Yeah. She was a famous person who saw her every morning. And
So, in 2005, many media outlets, including 2020, again focused on the story because it was the 10th anniversary of her disappearance. In June 2008, photocopies of the 84 pages of Jodi's personal journal were anonymously mailed to a local newspaper.
What?
The Mason City Globe-Gazette received the material in a large envelope with no return address and a June 4th postmark from Waterloo, Iowa. Now, the original journal had been in the possession of law enforcement since the beginning of the investigation. Within days, the Mason City Police Department reported the sender had come forward and was identified as Cheryl Ellingson, the wife of a former police department chief, David Ellingson.
What?
Yeah. And so they gave no motive for why David Ellingson had taken a copy of the evidence home, because that's how she got the journal to make copies, is because it was at their home. For one, they don't know why she would photocopy it and send it anonymously to this news station, because she didn't say why. And no one knows why this former police chief would have taken that evidence home, because it had been in the evidence locker since the investigation started. So he took it home. She made copies. She mailed it off to the newspaper. I feel like that's you saying your husband did something without saying your husband did something.
I mean, that's what I'm thinking too. Like, why are you keeping this?
Why did he take it?
Yeah, that's like a trophy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an incredible trophy.
I mean, maybe...
Okay,
devil's advocate, maybe he took it home because he wanted to look through it and try to find evidence, but why didn't he ever take it back? Why? Yeah.
Sure. Like, okay, he's interested in the case. He's looking at the case again. Maybe there's something in the journal. So was there anything in the journal? Did it give any hints to anything?
I could not find anything else about this journal other than... the police department gave no motive for why he would have taken it home when he left office, because it was after he retired that he took copies of it or whatever home, and no motive as to why his wife...
He got into the evidence locker after he retired?
Like, he took like he was retiring and he had he took the journal with him. So he was no longer on the police force when he had the journal.
Let me just clean off my desk. And so he wasn't working on the case anymore. This was him. I'm taking this as a memento.
I guess. The police department clearly gave no motive for why David Ellingson had taken a copy of evidence home.
There has got to be either something about him in that journal.
Yeah. Well, and there was no motive why his wife interfered with the investigation. There was no release of what was that? The newspaper did not print the journal.
Are we so cynical that we're just like...
I'm just saying the newspaper never printed the journal. I couldn't find anything else about what was actually in the journal. But I feel like the wife had to have thought there was something, because why would you just blindly copy the 84 pages and send it if you didn't think something was significant? So I don't know. To me, the whole journal situation is very strange. In May 2015, all 100 members of the Iowa House of Representatives signed a letter requesting Mason City to declare June 27th, 2015 as Jodi Huisentruit Day in honor of her memory, and that all victims in unsolved cases. So it was supposed to honor all of them. This was ultimately declined. And in December 2016, there was an opinion piece for the Northwest Iowa Review. Retiring state representative, one of the retiring state representatives described his experience with the case as a member of the Iowa State House Public Safety Committee and suggested there was a cover-up by Mason City officials.
I mean, does that not lead back to the chief a little bit?
So the representative was John, I swear this name looks like Cookier, Kookier, Kooiker, Kookier. I couldn't find a pronunciation of it. So again, guys, I'm really sorry. I can't pronounce words. But he was the retiring state. That's what it looks like. Yeah. So he was the retiring state representative. He is the one that's described his experience with the case from the beginning as he was on the Iowa State House Public Safety Committee. And he suggested that there was a cover-up by the Mason City officials for this case.
I mean, does that make you think of the police chief, or does that, or or no?
Makes me think of more than just that. Seems like way more people are involved, and not just the police chief.
Oh my gosh! I want to know what's in that journal now.
I know. And I feel like even if
there have got to be clues.
People got it, you wouldn't have all of it. You know what I mean? Now that it's been in the hands of these people, any kind of evidence like that are probably gone. Now, I will say that the chief did respond to these claims. And he said that it just makes me so frustrated because
her face is just how do I?
I'll just read this whole thing. Okay, so go. The representative, he said he was retiring in 2017. He wrote this scathing letter criticizing the mayor and the council for what he called stonewalling his attempts to bring attention to Jodi's case.
So he's the one that said we should have this day of remembrance, not just for Jodi, but for other...
He was trying to bring attention to the case. There is a lady named Caroline Lowe who was part of the FindJodi.com website. She worked for them. And she reached out to the Mason City Police Chief, Jeff Brinkley, for comment about the letter. And this is the response that she received. We are aware of the statement that Mr. Kookier, whatever.
Kooiker?
Kooiker released.
Is it Kooi?
Yeah, Kooiker. Okay. Released as he finished his term in the Iowa legislature. We, the police department, have been and will continue to be sensitive to the victims and their families, especially in cases like this. My understanding is that Jodi's family was not necessarily interested in Jodi Huisentruit Day in 2015, and our department and city chose to respect that wish. We continue to get calls from the public about Jodi's disappearance. That information is then investigated by our personnel. We continue to work this case with the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation, and our investigators have been in contact with the DCI on several occasions this year as part of the follow-up case. To, I just feel like that's such a cop-out. Because, like, the family is the one who is part of findjodi.com, and they're the ones contacting you, and like they knew about the day before it was proposed. You know what I mean? Like they talked to the family before they proposed this day. So why are you trying to say the family, like you didn't do it because the family didn't want it? Like I don't know. Didn't address anything about the journal,
as if
like
the family wouldn't want that. It is if it means bringing more attention to find her, why wouldn't they want that? I find that hard to believe.
Yeah, I don't know. He said, so the letter that John originally wrote, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it does point out some things about the city and the cover-up. Mm-hmm. And he said that it's been a privilege to serve the Iowa State House of Representatives to fill the 9th term of my good friend Dwayne, who passed away shortly after winning in November 2014. I quickly realized what a benefit it is to have the diversity in the Iowa State House. We will bring our experiences, joys, sorrows, biases, and ideas to the Assembly. As a member of the House Public Safety Committee, I was appalled at the number of cold cases in our state and the current lack of cohesive effort to solve them. There used to, he said, side note, there used to be a cold case investigative team within the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation several years ago, but it has been dissolved due to budget priorities. So why would a legislator from Sioux County be interested in cold cases? I've had 4 experiences which galvanized my interest, and 3 occurred prior to my time in the legislature. The first was 1981 disappearance of Adam Walsh, age 6 in Florida. We've talked about him on the show. At the time, my wife, Sherry, and I had 4 children, age 7 and under. The second was the disappearance of Jacob Wetterling from rural Minnesota in 1989. He was the same age as my son, Ben.
Did we do that one?
I don't think we did him. We did Adam Walsh for sure.
I think we did Wetterling too, but okay.
We may have. But there's a similarity in appearance between Ben and Jacob are striking. This could have happened to us. The third was the disappearance of TV reporter Jodi Huisentruit in Mason City in 1995. She was 27 at the time, and I remember the event clearly as it occurred on June 27th, which is the day between my birthday and our anniversary. Then he goes on to talk about the fourth one, which something I learned was sitting next to State Representative Mary Wolf. During my time in the legislature, her 2 sisters were murdered in Pennsylvania. 3 of the 4 tragedies cited above have been solved. In the spring of 2015, I was thinking of ways to draw attention to the high number of cold cases in Iowa. With the 20th anniversary of Jodi Huisentruit's unsolved disappearance approaching, I saw an opportunity. With the assistance of other legislators, I circulated a letter addressed to the city of Mason City, asking them to recognize the 20th anniversary of her disappearance and soliciting help in solving the case. All 100 state representatives signed the letter. I talked to Jodi's sisters, and they had no objections. Mason City area legislator offered to notify Mason City officials of the pending letter. That news elicited some rather strange reactions. Chief Mike Lashbrook insisted that he did not want the letter to be sent to him or anybody else in Mason City. Mayor Eric Bookmeyer complied and vouched for what a wonderful job the chief had been doing and that he was close to retirement. That chief is the one that took the journal. Close to retirement. So he did not need this issue to come before the public and sully his record. The mayor begged me to withdraw the letter and was worried about putting too much pressure on the chief. I was even accused of meddling and not respecting local control. In particular, the mayor and chief were upset at my plan to release this to the media. I proceeded to send the letter to the mayor and all 6 council members, but decided to not send it to the media. My letter was disregarded. The chief's mysterious reaction, manifested through the mayor, makes it sense if the Mason City Police Department mishandled Jodi's case. Indeed, I soon realized certain leads first filed in 2008 had been completely ignored for at least 7 years. I spoke with the DCI director.
What?
Yeah. I spoke with the DCI director, Jim Saunders. He explained that due to the complexity of this case, the Mason City Police Department was supposedly notifying Iowa DCI of all leads since 1995, but for reasons unknown, the Mason City Police Department concealed the 2008 leads from Iowa DCI until 2015. Director Saunders assured me all leads would be investigated. However, I was also informed that under Iowa law, the local police department owns the case. DCI is only available to assist and does not have enough resources to do so. In 2016, I hoped the new chief would be more receptive, so I sent him a certified letter on April 26. He did not respond. On September 7th, I was in Mason City for a funeral. Chief Eric Brinkling was unavailable at the time, so I visited with Lieutenant Logan, who conveyed my concerns to the chief. Chief did not call me back. I still have not received assurance that all leads have been investigated. Without jeopardizing the leads in question, I will simply say the Mason City Police Department seems to have a dubious lack of interest in following up on leads that could shed light on the day of Jodi Huisentruit's disappearance. Generally, I would not describe my person who is untrusting, but I have this gut feeling that something is being covered up in Mason City. As in many cold cases, eventually the case fades into oblivion from the public, which is what the Mason City Police Department seems to be hoping for again. Sadly, the immediate family never forgets, and they continue to wonder what happened to their loved ones. So he wrote all of that. And the police department, the only thing the police department said was the letter had proven to be unnecessary distraction for the police department, involving expensive time and resources, basically causing like all these mixed reactions, just saying it was unfortunate that this letter was being promoted. The mayor backed up the chief, saying that he concurred with the chief, that the police department was conducting an ongoing investigation and continued to, and that they fully support and respectfully marked her anniversary. But he says, I do not believe there is a place for politicians or politics in investigations. Or in this investigation. So, that whole letter is on findjodi.com. You can go and read the whole thing if you want it. But they go back. But basically, he's trying to fight to help solve this case, and the police department and the mayor are all like, no, we don't think so.
Is there anyone else pushing back other than the family and this one ex-state legislator?
The two people that run findjodi.com are totally independent from the family. So you've got them, you've got the private investigators, you've got this, like all 100 representatives signed that original letter that's being ignored.
But is anyone keeping that up? That pressure?
I think just the family.
They need more elected officials putting that pressure.
Yeah.
They need the mayor. They need that. That.
Well, who knows how much
Mason
evidence
City
they
mayor
had destroyed by this point if they were hiding leads from 2008 to 2015.
If the police chief was taking home the frickin'...
Yeah. So in March 2017, a search warrant was executed against a person of interest named John Venice. That's the one that showed her the video where she went to his house and saw the video, seeking GPS data for 2 of his vehicles. In 2018, 48 Hours aired an episode on Jodi's disappearance featuring John in never-before-seen footage. Now, the reason for the attention was never explained by authorities, and the fact that John had even been looked at was not revealed until leaked in 2018. But John was never actually charged for any aspect of her disappearance, and he died in December of 2024. So they don't actually think that he had anything. It just so happened she had been at his house the day before, but they supposedly couldn't link anything to him. Excuse me. As of 2020, the police department and the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation were actively investigating her disappearance. That same year, FindJodi.com launched a podcast by the same name in order to gain a new audience to share information on the case and generate new leads.
Good.
Yeah. And so that's called Find Jodi. And in 2022, ABC's 2020 debuted a new special titled Gone at Dawn, overviewing the disappearance and interviewing those close with the case. This was the third time 2020 had featured Jodi on an episode.
She was an ABC affiliate reporter at the time, right?
Not when she disappeared.
Was she with NBC?
No, she had been an affiliate of ABC at one point, like worked at one of their affiliates, but she was working at KIMT at the time.
Okay.
Yeah. So in February of 2023, former media consultant turned private investigator Steve Ridge, who started investigating the case in 2019, announced that he was personally offering a $25,000 reward for information that led to the recovery of her remains, even if an arrest was never made.
Wow.
Yeah, the family just wanted the remains. No questions asked. They didn't care about the arrest. In September 2023, he increased that reward to $50,000. In early October 2024, a year after offering the reward for information leading to Jodi's body, the private investigator Steve reported that Jodi had a new boyfriend immediately before her disappearance. What? The couple had been in contact daily or near daily since they had begun dating 10 days or so before the abduction. Steve believed this new boyfriend may have created jealousy and led to Jodi's abduction. Like, basically, whoever her stalker was became jealous because she had this man in her life now. Not that the boyfriend did it, that whoever was stalking her increased what they were doing because now she was dating someone. So in mid-October 2024, the police department searched a wooded area in Winston, Minnesota that was scheduled to be the location of an apartment complex after what was reported to have been an anonymous tip. They didn't find anything. On July 15 of this year, Hulu released a 3-part documentary series called Her Last Broadcast, The Abduction of Jodi Huisentruit. Now, while the series dispels many rumors and media reports about the case, it chooses to focus its attention on there's 4 people of interest, none of whom the police department have found evidence against, and none of them have ever been elevated to the status of like true suspects despite their supposed 30 years of police work. But the 4 people, so there's 4 people. There's a serial rapist at the time named Tony Jackson who lived 2 blocks from the KIMT broadcast studios at the time where she was working. Brad Millerburn, who was the ex-husband of Jodi's childhood best friend, and revealing that the wooded site searched in Winston, Minnesota in that October 24 was adjacent to the house that Brad had previously owned. And then suspected serial killer Christopher Ravak, whose girlfriend lived in Mason City at the time. The series also included an admission from the officer who had requested the warrant in 2017 to place the GPS trackers on the vehicles of the first person that we already mentioned, John
the photographer or whatever.
Explaining that he had invited John in for an interview and as an investigative technique, had hoped that the trackers might have shown a spooked John, and if he was the abductor, going to a possible burial site before he came in for investigation. But no such evidence resulted, and reiterating that John never became a suspect. He was never charged. Now, Patty Nimoy was Brad Millerburns' ex-wife and childhood best friend of Jodi. She is the one that told the investigators that Brad matched unreleased police suspect sketches. So they had some sketches of like from witnesses who
the van and the truck and the whatever.
Like in the parking lot, they had seen him or whatever, seen a man, and they described him to the police. And
did they do police sketches like they did?
I guess they did. They were never released. They were never released to the public. But when Patty was in the police department talking about the case, like being interviewed by investigators, they showed the sketches, and she's like, "That looks like that's Brad. That looks like Brad."
So,
and they're the ones that had the house adjacent to that wooded property that had been searched.
Did they search? They did search that property though.
Yeah, but they didn't find anything. I mean, again, it's years and years later. Anyways, Brad has maintained his innocence and worked with the authorities and was never arrested. And then in October 2025 of this year, the serial killer, Christopher Ravak, who died by suicide in 2009, was determined. Okay, so one of the suspects was Christopher Ravak. And in October of 2025, they were talking about him, but he died of suicide in 2009. It was determined in 2025 that he was responsible for the 2006 murder of a woman in Wisconsin. Christopher Ravak was also responsible for Deidre Harm's death. And as mentioned, he was a person of interest in Jodi's case, but the police department claims they never found any evidence connecting him to her case at the time. He's the one that had a girlfriend that lived in her city. Christopher died of, yes.
Do any of these people have connections to the police, or to, like, are they rich, well-connected people?
Well, several of, like, Brad, they couldn't connect anything to Brad. John was ruled out completely. The serial rapist was ruled out. They couldn't connect him to being in the city at the time of her disappearance. Okay. But Christopher Ravak is the one that had the girlfriend that lived in Mason City at the time of Jodi's disappearance. Now, as mentioned, Christopher was a person of interest in her case. The police department claimed they never found any evidence connecting him to her case. He died of suicide while in jail facing charges for a 2007 murder of a different woman named Renee Williams in Ava, Missouri. So technically he murdered at least 3 women.
And they don't think that he murdered Jodi.
Technically, Jodi's case is now deemed unsolved since, technically that Renee Williams that died, her case is deemed unsolved because he never made it to trial for them to officially convict him of her murder. So, we can never know, like, if he was responsible for other murders because they never got anything off of him. So, at the time of Jodi's disappearance, she was 5'4", brown eyes, blonde hair. If you have any information about Jodi's case, you can leave an anonymous tip at findjodi.com. There's some phone numbers I'll leave in the show notes. You can contact, if you believe they'll follow up, the Mason City Police Department. But there's multiple different ways you can submit tips. Now, they've never found any evidence of... They never identified the palm print that was on her car. They never found any evidence of her body, like no remains, nothing. There was no security footage again in the apartment complex. This was, you gotta remember, and this was also at like 4 or 5 in the morning, so it's still probably kind of dark outside. So there's not like a lot of traffic happening. And to me, it's just... like the fact that they've never found anything is just so wild. And obviously it wasn't like a robbery gone bad or anything because they didn't take any of her stuff. They just took her. And so, like I said, she was officially declared dead. But the case is still unsolved. So that's where we're at.
They took her. It looks like it was like a smash and grab almost.
Yeah. Like her stuff was just everywhere.
That there was the car right next to hers that was waiting for her, kind of a thing. Like that she didn't. She was probably putting the key in the car, and she was being pulled away.
The key was bent, so she
was being pulled away.
Yeah. And so they were clearly waiting for her, watching
for her. They were
waiting
waiting for her.
And so that's my story on Jodi. There's a lot of information. If you want, there's so much that I could have talked about, but findjodi.com has a ton of like letters. They talk about the case more in depth. They talk about different leads. But there's so many documentaries, the podcast. There's a lot of good information about it. If you want to know more about her case, who she is, the disappearance, those things. Mm-hmm. But I feel like it was definitely the police department dropping the ball and definitely some kind of cover up because what the hell? So.
Like, were they covering up that they fucked up the investigation? Were they covering up for somebody they know that they were protecting them from getting in trouble? Like if it was the police chief.
Yeah, the one representative said that it was discovered they had leads in 2018, but they did not tell anybody what those leads were until 2015. So they had the leads. They knew about the leads. They just hid them. So to me, and then to say politicians don't need to be involved in this investigation, why don't they need, like, you would think the more help, especially politicians' help, would be better.
You have the bully pulpit. They can talk about it. They can bring attention to a case.
They can get you the funding for the resources you need for this and other cases.
Oh, so 100%. 100%.
So like, I agree with him that it's very strange. And then again, the mayor was like, yeah, the chief of police is retiring. He doesn't need us to ruin his reputation. Well, why would his reputation be ruined by this
That's
letter?
a good question.
Like,
that's a great question.
What do you mean? Why would his reputation be sullied? Like, I don't understand. What did he do?
I bet that pissed his wife off to find that journal there.
Yeah.
You know, like, why are you keeping this?
So I don't know what was in the journal. I don't know why he had it, but I feel like that was a very weird statement for the mayor to publicly make to the representative, that politicians needed to stay out of it, and that the chief of police was retiring, so the letter didn't need to be released because it would sully his reputation or whatever.
This is why elections matter. This is why elections matter. And if this mayor is going to say, well, we can't sully the reputation of this police chief on his way out, like, maybe I'll need a new mayor. I'm just going to say.
Yeah.
You know, look at your city council. Why are they not up in arms?
Yeah.
They should be doing everything they can to unclog the cold case backlog that apparently exists. Huge cases, by the way, that podcasts all over the world cover.
Yeah. And
from your city.
Yeah.
From your city. And maybe
consider why you have not only a serial killer, serial rapist, but all of these criminals connected to your, this is not a huge town.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? It's not like Houston where it makes more, like, obviously, but like, I don't know. I feel like there were so many leads and they dropped the ball on all of them. 'Cause like,
well,
they never really talked about how they ruled out that.
But like you said, even with the state legislature, like, there could be funding that they could be opening up to help fund all of these things that you're saying you don't have money for.
Yeah.
So work on that. You know, like, we have to do that. We have to lobby.
Yeah.
You know, we have to work on things all the time. Like, that's what we have to do.
So in the 90s, where this city where this happened had less than 29,000 people living in it.
Holy shit.
I mean that may sound, but that is a relatively small kind of town, and you had all of these possible serial killers, rapists, like convicted people, and you couldn't like find any connection to her. You couldn't find anything. Like, I don't know. I find it all very strange. I really feel like, why did you hide the leads, first of all? Why did the police chief have the journal?
My little city has 123,910.
Yeah.
As of January 1st.
Yeah.
So that's small.
Yeah. Even now, it doesn't have a lot of people that live there. But, okay, the police chief that was retiring took the journal. His wife made copies and sent it to the news, but nothing ever happened with it. No one can explain why he had the journal. The police department hid leads for, like, 7 years.
28,000 now.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That's it. Like, and then the whole weird thing with the mayor saying they didn't want to ruin the police chief's reputation. So I don't know. It's a lot to me. I hope that someday her family can get closure and they at least find, her body. You're fine. I hope they get that someday. I don't know if they'll ever get anything else because of what seems to be this massive cover up, but
I know that wanting to bring them home and
Yeah.
to bury them and to have that goodbye and to do that. I know
Yeah.
that how important that is. I really hope that they do find her. That something happens, something comes forward. There's something, someone knows something.
Yeah.
It just needs to come out.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, the latest thing was the October 2025 stuff with the serial killer that was determined to be involved in those other murders of women in Missouri and Wisconsin. So, yeah. But again, they claim there's no connection. So who knows? They say there's no connection to any of the hundreds and hundreds and thousands of leads that they've gotten or interviews. They've conducted over 1,000 interviews with people and claim there's been no connection, evidence, leads, nothing to her case, which I find so weird. And then why?
Because that's not a first time offense.
Yeah.
You don't just like first time ever you kidnap and kill somebody. Like you work that shit out.
Yeah.
You practice.
But the other thing to me was like Brad's ex-wife, who was best friends with Jodi her whole life, was like, yeah, that's my husband in those sketches. And then you also had an anonymous tip that to search this property that just happened to be adjacent from where this man lived.
I
and
know.
like you're telling me that just because he's
right
being friendly with the police, you've found nothing. I feel like he should have definitely have been higher on the list and like investigate. I don't know, whatever. I couldn't find anything else about him in like today's.
Well, sure, they're not going to do that.
Yeah,
because...
but to me, he was outside of the serial killer who had the girlfriend in the town. He was the next viable one because that was her childhood friend. Like, I don't feel like she would say that that was her husband unless she was certain that was her. You know what I mean? And then the anonymous tip just happened to be the property next to his. And I would think he might also be able to stalk her because his wife was her childhood best friend. So it wouldn't be suspicious if he was at her, like around her, you know, like with his wife or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't be as suspicious because his wife was her best friend.
So you said that the case belonged to the local police department and that the state police or FBI,
the DCI, the Department of Criminal Investigation, Iowa's Department.
Is that FBI or is that?
I think that's like Iowa's version, you know, like the state's version of it. But they supposedly were told the police department owned the case because of the laws at that time, and that they could just basically kind of assist with what the police department needed, but they couldn't take the case over.
But the police department could ask for assistance.
But they claimed they didn't have the resources, the money resources.
Who doesn't
The
have?
police department and the Department of Criminal Investigation supposedly did not have the resources. I will say another
great reason to
reason
ask for more funding.
Another reason that I think that Brad should have been looked at more is because there were statements from her best friend, from Patty, saying that Brad would like often ask about Jodi, like would often ask her questions, but she thought like, you know, he was just like
if someone was like, "Hey, how's Ashley?"
Like if Jason was like, "How's Ashley doing?"
Oh, great.
You know what I mean? But
that's where that sentence would end. Like, okay.
Yeah. And so
what's she doing for Thanksgiving? And you know.
Yeah. And so that's I mean, there's a lot out there about Brad and what I feel are like.
So he's not mentioned in that what happened to Jodi or
he's on the broadcast. Yeah, he's mentioned a lot on the broadcast.
Not on the broadcast, on the documentary, the one that just came out.
Yeah, they talk about him, and they talk, and then on her last broadcast, the abduction of Jodi Huisentruit.
That one.
Yeah, they talk about him.
Is he a viable suspect for them too?
He's pretty much everyone's suspect except for the police department and
except for the
police department. Yeah, and so
where's he now?
I don't know where he is
there's
now.
There's a lot of
but
names.
he's still around because he like in 2025, and Patty is still around. They're not married anymore.
Wow.
But
not when she's like, that looks like my husband.
Yeah, but the documentary, the the last broadcast basically says that Brad is like their is like their focus. And yeah.
I'm so glad when things come out, though, because that could spur more people to be like, hey, why aren't you looking at this? Why aren't, like, someone else, it reintroduces the story to a new generation. It re-emphasizes the need for more information, and it puts it back out there and like, oh, you know what? I might know something.
So in the documentary, the producer was talking about how Patty reportedly like revealed, you know, that Brad was the one that matched those unreleased police sketches.
I want to see them.
And she said it was a very moving experience. She was, here you have somebody who was extremely close to Jodi. Again, they were childhood friends, who was very tight circles with her, grew up, all of these things. And now she believes her own ex-husband had something to do with Jodi's disappearance. And talking about how brave she was to like come forward with that. And of course, Brad is still alive. The documentary did reach out to him to try to get him on the documentary, but of course he did not respond. And the police would not confirm or deny whether they have looked further into him, which leads me to believe they have not. So yeah, in my mind, Brad did it. In most people's minds, Brad did it, because the more you read about Brad and the more you read about what his wife has said, I feel like he did it. But, you know, that's just me. I'm not a detective. I guess innocent until proven guilty or whatever the bullshit. But
yeah, we're some cynical peeps tonight, man.
I mean, how could he not have done it?
I know. I don't know, serial killer or Brad. I mean,
Patty said he was infatuated with Jodi.
Oh, well, see, you gotta. Yes, it's Brad. So, everybody, let's just start, bombarding the Mason City mayor's office and the legislature, and get those state reps in your district to just sound the alarm. Keep putting pressure on these people. That's what they listen to. To.
One more thing real quick, because I forgot this part. Patty also told the police that Jodi had told her that Brad had been attempting to contact her and keep track of her whereabouts because he was really interested in her.
What?
And that after Patty and him got separated, Brad was like, had a lot of anger issues and was like an alcoholic and all this stuff. And like Jodi told Patty that he was contacting her and trying to track her and like whatever else. So anyways, again, I just think it's Brad. I'll stop talking about it. There's lots of information. You can go find more information about Brad. That's all I'll say. Okay. If you see something, say something. That's all. Okay. I'm done. I'm done. Really. For real. For real.
Oh my.
I'm sorry, guys. I could keep talking about Brad. I wanted to talk more, but I left it out. But there's just so much about it, and I wanted to focus more on Jodi.
I know. But what we're trying to do, though, is to get people excited about this case, to bring more attention to it, to go knocking on doors and say, hey, you work for us, man.
And Brad looks like a creep, guys. I don't mean to profile, but he looks like a creep. Anyways. Go research Brad. Go research Jodi's case, and just keep her name alive. Keep
it alive.
Read about all the disappearances. Keep their names alive.
Oh, wow! All right. Well, it's the Monday. We're recording this the Monday before Thanksgiving. This episode will come out on Thanksgiving Day.
Oh, how exciting for so many people!
So, if you want to escape your family. This might be a good escape.
If you want them to never come back to your house for Thanksgiving.
Well, don't play it out loud. I don't think. I mean.
Anyways. It's your choice.
It's your choice. It's your choice. It is your choice. Your Alexa, your choice. But we're on all the things. So if you want, however you need to listen to us, we are on it. If you want to reach out to us, please do. You can reach us at what? catandashley.com.
Cat and Ashley, casefiles with catandashley.com. You can message us on Facebook.
Casefiles with catandashley.com.
Yeah, you can message us on Facebook, Instagram, through our website.
Okay, so just
smoke signals.
Yeah, just reach out if you need us. Remember, if you are in a dangerous situation, you're not alone. There are resources out there. And so please, in our show notes, I do have some, we do have some links and some phone numbers if you need them. So you're not alone.
Yeah.
It doesn't, domestic violence and sexual assault don't take holidays. Yeah. So just know that there are still people waiting for you to call.
If you go to catandashley.com, like KAT, and Ashley.com, you can leave us a voicemail, or you can use the contact to send us something, and
case
we get
files
it.
with Cat and Ashley.com or Cat and Ashley?
Cat and Ashley.
Oh,
I mean, you can do case files with Cat and Ashley, but for the shorter version.
Yeah. Cat and Ashley.com.
Yeah. But anyways, you can leave us a message. You can leave us a voicemail, whichever one's easier. We do read everything we get. So.
And if you have any story ideas, let us know. Yeah. As we go into the new year, we always find something to talk about, but we love it if someone has a request. And
you can also subscribe to the podcast. Like, you will get reminders.
Like and subscribe and share. All that stuff. Anyway, we love you. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Turkey Day. Happy whatever. Just enjoy. I hope you have a peaceful holiday. And, nothing too stressful, y'all.
Yes.
Nothing too stressful. That's it. All right. Until next week, when we have Sarah on the podcast with us, have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll see you soon. Bye.